Conversation 1. Paying bills.
Listen and practice.
I'm struggling to keep track of all my monthly bills.
Organization is key. Have you tried using a bill payment app?
Not yet, but that sounds helpful. Do you use one?
Yes, it's been a game changer for me. What's your biggest challenge with bills?
Remembering all the due dates. How does the app help with that?
It sends reminders and can even automate payments. Want me to show you how it works?
That would be great. Do you think it's secure?
Absolutely. The app uses bank-level encryption. Shall we set it up on your phone now?
Conversation 2. Opening a bank account.
Listen and practice.
I'm thinking of opening a new bank account.
That's a big step. What's prompting the change?
I'm not satisfied with my current bank's fees. Have you changed banks recently?
Not recently, but I did research options last year. What features are you looking for?
I'd like better online banking and lower fees. Any recommendations?
I've heard good things about XYZ Bank. Have you considered credit unions?
I haven't looked into those. What are the advantages?
They often have better rates and more personalized service. Want to compare options together?
Conversation 3. Applying for a credit card.
Listen and practice.
I received a pre-approved credit card offer in the mail.
Those can be tempting. Are you considering applying?
I'm thinking about it. Do you have any experience with credit cards?
Yes, I have a couple. What's attracting you to this offer?
The rewards program looks good. How do you choose between credit card offers?
I look at the interest rates and fees first. Have you checked those for this offer?
Not closely enough, I guess. What else should I consider?
The annual fee and any sign-up bonuses are important too. Let's review the fine print together.
Conversation 4. Filing taxes.
Listen and practice.
Tax season is here, and I'm feeling overwhelmed.
It can be stressful. Have you started gathering your documents?
Not yet. I'm not even sure where to begin. How do you handle your taxes?
I use tax preparation software. It guides you through the process. Have you considered using a service like that?
I hadn't thought about it. Is it expensive?
There are free options for simple returns. What's the most complicated part of your taxes?
Probably my freelance income. Do you think the software can handle that?
Most can, but you might want to consult a professional for complex situations. Want to look at some options online?
Conversation 5. Getting a driver's license.
Listen and practice.
I'm finally getting around to getting my driver's license.
That's exciting. Have you started studying for the written test?
I've been reviewing the manual. How long did it take you to get your license?
It took me a couple of months. Are you planning to take driving lessons?
I'm considering it. Did you take professional lessons?
Yes, they were really helpful. What's been the hardest part for you so far?
Probably remembering all the road signs. Any tips for the practical test?
Practice parallel parking a lot. It's often the trickiest part. Want to do some practice drives together?
Conversation 6. Car maintenance.
Listen and practice.
My car's been making a strange noise lately.
That doesn't sound good. Have you had it checked out?
Not yet. I'm worried it might be expensive. How often do you service your car?
I get it serviced every 6 months or so. Do you know much about car maintenance?
Not really. I usually just take it to the mechanic. Any tips for basic maintenance?
Regularly checking oil and tire pressure can prevent bigger issues. Want me to show you how?
That would be great. Do you think I should take it to a mechanic for the noise?
Definitely. Ignoring strange noises can lead to more serious problems. I can recommend a trustworthy mechanic if you'd like.
Conversation 7. Moving preparations.
Listen and practice.
I'm starting to pack for my move next month.
Moving can be so stressful. How's it going so far?
It's overwhelming. I'm not sure where to start. Any packing tips?
Start with things you use least. Have you gotten packing supplies yet?
Not yet. What do you recommend?
Get more boxes than you think you'll need. Have you considered hiring movers?
I was thinking of doing it myself to save money. Is it worth the cost?
It can be, especially for heavy furniture. Want help researching moving companies?
Conversation 8. Home repairs.
Listen and practice.
The faucet in my kitchen started leaking.
That's annoying. Do you know how to fix it?
I'm not very handy. Have you dealt with leaky faucets before?
Yes, sometimes it's an easy fix. Have you tried tightening the base?
I haven't touched it. I'm afraid of making it worse. What tools would I need?
Usually just an adjustable wrench. Want me to come take a look?
That would be great. Do you think we can fix it ourselves?
Possibly. If not, I know a reliable plumber we can call. Shall we give it a try this weekend?
Conversation 9. Recycling and waste management.
Listen and practice.
I'm trying to improve my recycling habits.
That's great. What changes are you making?
I've started separating plastics and paper. Do you have any tips?
Composting food waste can make a big difference. Have you considered that?
I hadn't thought of that. How do you compost in an apartment?
There are compact indoor composting bins available. Want me to show you mine?
That would be helpful. Does it smell?
Not if you manage it properly. Let's look up some options for you online.
Conversation 10. Public transportation.
Listen and practice.
The bus schedule changed, and now I'm always late for work.
That's frustrating. Have you looked into alternative routes?
Not yet. How do you usually get to work?
I use a combination of bus and subway. Have you considered the subway?
I'm not sure if there's a convenience station near me. Do you know how to check?
There's a great transit app one use. Want me to help you install it?
That would be great. Does it show real-time updates?
Yes, and it suggests the fastest routes. Let's set it up and explore your options.
Conversation 11. Using ride-sharing apps.
Listen and practice.
I've never used a ride-sharing app before.
They can be really convenient. What's holding you back?
I'm not sure about the safety aspects. How often do you use them?
I use them a couple of times a week. The apps have safety features built in.
That's good to know. How do the prices compare to regular taxis?
They're often cheaper, especially if you use shared rides. Want me to walk you through using an app?
That would be helpful. Can we compare a few different apps?
Absolutely. Let's download a couple and I'll show you how they work.
Conversation 12. Packing for a trip.
Listen and practice.
I always seem to overpack for trips.
It's a common problem. Do you make a packing list?
I don't, actually. Is that something you do?
Always. It helps me stay organized. Want to see my method?
That would be helpful. Do you have any other packing tips?
Rolling clothes instead of folding can save space. Have you tried packing cubes?
No, what are those?
They're great for organizing. Let's look them up and I can show you how to use them.
Conversation 13. Booking flights.
Listen and practice.
I need to book a flight for my business trip next month.
Exciting. Do you have a preferred airline?
Not really. I usually just look for the cheapest option. How do you choose flights?
I consider price, but also look at flight times and layovers. Have you tried comparison sites?
I've heard of them but never used one. Are they reliable?
Very much so. They can save you a lot of time and money. Want to try booking together?
Sure, that would be great. Any tips for finding good deals?
Booking midweek and being flexible with dates can help. Let's check some options now.
Conversation 14. Customs Declaration.
Listen and practice.
I'm nervous about going through customs on my upcoming international trip.
It can be intimidating. Have you traveled internationally before?
This is my first time. What should I expect?
They'll ask about the purpose of your visit and what you're bringing. Do you know what you need to declare?
Not really. Are there specific things I should be aware of?
Food and large amounts of cash are common items. Shall we review the customs form together?
That would be really helpful. Are there any common mistakes to avoid?
Yes. Always be honest and declare everything. Let's go through the form step by step.
Conversation 15. Returns and exchanges.
Listen and practice.
I bought a shirt online, but it doesn't fit. I've never done an online return before.
Online returns can seem daunting at first. Did the package come with a return label?
Yes, it did. Is the process complicated?
It's usually straightforward. Have you read the company's return policy?
Not yet. Are there specific things I should look for?
Yes, like the time limit for returns and any restocking fees. Shall we review the policy together?
That would be helpful. Do I need to pay for return shipping?
It depends on the company. Let's check their policy, and I can guide you through the return process.
Conversation 16. Mobile phone plans.
Listen and practice.
I'm thinking about switching my mobile phone plan.
Switching can often save money. What don't you like about your current plan?
It's too expensive and I don't use all the data. What should I look for in a new plan?
Consider your usage habits. Do you know how much data you typically use?
Not exactly. How can I check that?
You can look at your past bills or check your phone settings. Want to compare some plans together?
That would be helpful. Are there any hidden fees I should watch out for?
Yes, like activation fees or early termination fees. Let's make a list of questions to ask potential providers.
Conversation 17. Utility setup.
Listen and practice.
I need to set up utilities for my new apartment.
Congrats on the new place. Do you know which utilities you need to set up?
I think electricity and water, but I'm not sure about the rest. What else should I consider?
Don't forget about gas, internet, and trash service. Have you contacted the utility companies yet?
Not yet. How do I find out which companies serve my area?
We can check online or ask your landlord. Want to make a checklist of utilities to set up?
That's a good idea. How long does it usually take to get everything connected?
It can vary, so it's best to start early. Let's prioritize the essential services and make some calls.
Conversation 18. Gift-giving customs.
Listen and practice.
Do you find gift giving stressful sometimes?
Yes, especially for people I don't know well. How do you choose good gifts?
I try to pay attention to their interests. What occasions do you find most challenging?
Probably weddings and housewarmings. Are there any rules for those?
There are some general guidelines. Want to go over some gift giving etiquette?
Yes, please. What about cultural differences in gift giving?
That's important to consider. Are you giving gifts to people from different cultures?
Not currently, but it's good to know. Can we discuss some common cultural gift-giving customs?
Conversation 19. Job searching online.
Listen and practice.
I'm starting a job search but feeling overwhelmed by online job boards.
Online job searching can be daunting. Have you used any specific job search websites?
Just a couple of the big ones. Are there any you'd recommend?
I like industry-specific job boards. What field are you looking in?
I'm in marketing. Are there specialized sites for that?
Yes, there are several for marketing professionals. Shall we explore some together?
That would be great. How do I make my online application stand out?
Tailoring your resume and using keywords is crucial. Let's review your online profile and application strategy.
Conversation 20. Pet adoption.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever thought about adopting a pet?
I've been considering it. What should I consider before adopting?
Time commitment and living space are important factors. What kind of pet are you interested in?
I like both cats and dogs. How do I choose?
It depends on your lifestyle. Shall we compare the care needs of cats and dogs?
That would be helpful. Where's the best place to adopt from?
Shelters and rescue organizations are great options. Want to look at some local shelters?
Yes, I'd like that. What questions should I ask when adopting?
Conversation 21. To-do list apps.
Listen and practice.
I need a better way to manage my tasks.
To-do list apps can be great for that. Have you tried any task management apps before?
I've used the Notes app on my phone, but it's not very organized. What features should I look for in a good to-do app?
Look for easy input, reminders, and list sharing. Do you prefer a simple or more complex system?
Probably something simple to start. Any recommendations?
There are several good options. Shall we compare a few popular to-do list apps?
That would be helpful. Can these apps sync across devices?
Most of them do. Let's find one that fits your needs and set it up on your devices.
Conversation 22. Lease agreements.
Listen and practice.
I'm about to sign a lease for an apartment.
That's a big step. Have you read through the entire lease agreement?
I skimmed it, but some parts were confusing. What are the most important things to look for?
Pay attention to rent amount, lease term, and security deposit. Did you understand the section on maintenance responsibilities?
Not really. Can you explain what that usually covers?
It outlines what repairs you're responsible for versus the landlord. Shall we go through your lease together?
That would be great. Is it okay to negotiate terms in a lease?
Yes, it's often possible. Let's identify any points you might want to discuss with the landlord.
Conversation 23. First aid basics.
Listen and practice.
I want to learn some basic first aid skills.
That's a great idea. Have you ever taken a first aid course?
No, I haven't. Are they difficult?
They're usually very accessible. Do you know if any local organizations offer courses?
I'm not sure. How can we find out?
We can check with the Red Cross or local community centers. Shall we look up some options?
That sounds good. What are some essential first aid skills to learn?
CPR, treating cuts and burns, and recognizing emergency signs are crucial. Let's find a comprehensive course that covers these basics.
Conversation 24. Meal planning.
Listen and practice.
I want to start meal planning to eat healthier and save money.
That's a great idea. Have you tried meal planning before?
No, it's new to me. How do you approach meal planning?
I start by planning dinners for the week and then make a grocery list. Do you have any dietary preferences or restrictions?
I'm trying to eat more vegetables. Any tips for incorporating more veggies into meals?
Stir fries and salads are great for that. Shall we plan out a week of meals together?
That would be really helpful. How do you avoid getting bored with the same meals?
I try new recipes regularly. Let's find some exciting veggie-focused recipes to add to your plan.
Conversation 25. Baby shower organization.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever organized a baby shower?
No, but I might need to soon. What are the key elements of a good baby shower?
Games, gifts, and food are standard. Do you know if it's for a boy or girl?
It's a surprise. Does that affect the planning?
It can influence the theme and decorations. Have you thought about a theme yet?
Not really. What are some gender-neutral themes?
Nature or animal themes work well. Shall we look at some theme ideas?
Yes, please. What about baby shower games? Any suggestions?
Conversation 26. Smart home devices.
Listen and practice.
I'm interested in making my home smarter.
Smart homes can be very convenient. What aspects of your home would you like to automate?
Maybe lighting and temperature control. What devices would I need for that?
Smart bulbs and a smart thermostat would be a good start. Have you considered a smart speaker?
I've heard of them. How do they work with other devices?
They can act as a hub to control other smart devices. Shall we look at some starter smart home kits?
That's a good idea. Are these devices difficult to set up?
Most are designed to be user-friendly. Let's check some setup guides and see which might work best for you.
Conversation 27. Energy conservation.
Listen and practice.
Have you been trying to reduce your energy consumption?
I've been meaning to, but I'm not sure where to start. Any suggestions?
Switching to LED bulbs can make a big difference. Have you done that yet?
No, I haven't. Are they much more expensive?
They cost more upfront but save money long term. What about your thermostat settings?
I haven't really thought about it. What should I set it to?
It depends on the season. Shall we look up optimal settings?
Sure. Are there any other easy ways to save energy?
Conversation 28. Wedding planning.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever been involved in planning a wedding?
Not directly, but I've helped friends. Where do you even start with wedding planning?
A budget and guest list are usually first. Have you thought about your ideal wedding?
A little, but it seems overwhelming. How far in advance should you start planning?
Usually at least a year. What aspect of wedding planning interests you most?
I love the idea of choosing a theme. How important is that?
It can help guide many decisions. Want to brainstorm some theme ideas?
Sure, that sounds fun. What are some current wedding trends?
Conversation 29. Estate planning.
Listen and practice.
I've been thinking about estate planning lately.
That's a responsible step. Do you know what documents are typically included in an estate plan?
I'm not sure. Is it just a will?
A will is part of it, but there's more. Have you considered things like power of attorney?
I hadn't thought of that. What does power of attorney do?
It allows someone to make decisions for you if you're unable to. Shall we make a list of essential estate planning documents?
That's a good idea. How often should estate plans be updated?
It's recommended to review them every 3 to 5 years. Let's start by outlining your current situation and goals.
Conversation 30. Plant care.
Listen and practice.
Do you have any houseplants?
A few, but I'm not great at keeping them alive. Any tips for plant care?
Proper watering is crucial. Do you know how to tell when a plant needs water?
I usually just water on a schedule. Is that not the best way?
It depends on the plant. Want to learn about checking soil moisture?
Yes, please. How do you know what type of light each plant needs?
There are usually care instructions when you buy plants. Shall we look up care guides for your specific plants?
That would be great. What about fertilizing? How often should I do that?
Conversation 31. Tipping etiquette.
Listen and practice.
Do you ever get confused about tipping etiquette?
Sometimes, especially in new situations. What's the standard tip for restaurant servers?
Usually 15 to 20% in the US. What about for other services, like hairstylists?
I'm not sure. Is it the same percentage?
It can vary. Shall we look up tipping guidelines for different services?
That would be helpful. What about tipping in other countries?
It varies widely. Are you planning any international travel?
Not yet, but I'd like to be prepared. Can we check tipping customs for popular destinations?
Conversation 32. Computer troubleshooting.
Listen and practice.
My computer has been running slowly lately.
That can be frustrating. Have you tried any basic troubleshooting steps?
I've restarted it, but that's about it. What else should I try?
Checking for updates and clearing temporary files can help. When did you last run a virus scan?
I can't remember. How often should I do that?
It's good to run one weekly. Shall we go through some steps to speed up your computer?
That would be great. Do you think I need to upgrade my hardware?
It depends on the issue. Let's check your computer's specs and see if an upgrade might help.
Conversation 33. Veterinary care.
Listen and practice.
How often do you take your pet to the vet?
I'm not sure how often I should. What's the recommended frequency?
It depends on the pet's age and health. What kind of pet do you have?
I have a cat. Are there specific health issues I should watch for?
Cats can hide illness well. Do you know the signs of common cat health problems?
Not really. What should I be looking out for?
Changes in behavior or appetite are key signs. Shall we go over a pet health checklist?
Yes, that would be useful. How do I choose a good vet?
Conversation 34. Registering to vote.
Listen and practice.
I just realized I'm not registered to vote in our upcoming election.
It's great that you're taking that step. Do you know where to register?
I'm not sure. Is it a complicated process?
It's actually quite straightforward. Have you checked if you can register online?
I didn't know that was possible. How can I find out?
There's a government website that provides all the information. Want to look it up together?
That would be really helpful. What information will I need to register?
Usually your ID and address. Let's go through the process step by step to make sure you have everything.
Conversation 35. Pharmacy visits.
Listen and practice.
I need to pick up a prescription, but I always feel overwhelmed at the pharmacy.
It can be confusing. What specifically troubles you about pharmacy visits?
I'm not sure which questions to ask the pharmacist. What do you usually do?
I always ask about potential side effects and drug interactions. Have you considered using a pharmacy app?
No, I haven't. What does a pharmacy app do?
It can help manage prescriptions and send reminders. Want me to show you how it works?
That would be helpful. Do you think it's secure to use?
Yes, they use strong encryption. Let's download one and set it up for you.
Conversation 36. Fire safety.
Listen and practice.
When was the last time you checked your smoke detectors?
I can't remember. How often should we be checking them?
It's recommended to test them monthly. Do you know how to test them?
I think there's a button on them, right? What else should we do for fire safety?
Having a fire extinguisher is important. Do you know how to use one?
I'm not sure. Is it complicated?
It's pretty straightforward. Want me to show you the pass technique?
Yes, please. Should we create a fire escape plan too?
Conversation 37. Workplace etiquette.
Listen and practice.
I'm starting a new job and want to make a good impression.
That's great. First impressions are important. What aspects of workplace etiquette are you unsure about?
I'm not sure about the dress code and office communication norms. How can I learn about these?
You can observe your colleagues and ask your HR representative. Have you considered asking for an office tour?
That's a good idea. What are some universal workplace etiquette rules?
Being punctual and respectful are key. Shall we go over some common do's and don'ts?
Yes, please. How do I navigate office politics?
It's best to stay neutral and professional. Let's discuss strategies for building positive workplace relationships.
Conversation 38. Writing cover letters.
Listen and practice.
I struggle with writing cover letters. Do you have any advice?
Cover letters can be challenging. What part do you find most difficult?
I'm not sure how to make mine stand out. How do you structure your cover letters?
I start with a strong opening, then highlight relevant experiences. Have you researched the company you're applying to?
Not in depth. Is that important for the cover letter?
Absolutely. It helps you tailor your letter. Shall we research a company and practice writing a cover letter?
That sounds helpful. How personal should a cover letter be?
It should be professional, but show your personality. Let's brainstorm some ideas to make yours unique.
Conversation 39. Eye exams.
Listen and practice.
How often do you think we should get our eyes checked?
It's recommended to have an eye exam every 1 to 2 years. When was your last one?
I can't even remember. Do you wear glasses or contacts?
I wear glasses for reading. Have you noticed any changes in your vision lately?
Now that you mention it, I have been squinting more. Is that a sign I might need glasses?
It could be. Why don't we book eye exams together?
That's a good idea. Do you know if our health insurance covers eye exams?
Many plans do. Let's check our policies and find a good optometrist in the area.
Conversation 40. Storage solutions.
Listen and practice.
Do you struggle with storage in your home?
Yes, especially in small spaces. Any tips for maximizing storage?
Utilizing vertical space is key. Have you considered overdoor organizers or wall shelves?
I haven't tried those. Are they difficult to install?
Many are quite simple. Want to look at some easy-to-install storage solutions?
Sure. What about organizing things I do keep? Any suggestions?
Clear containers and labels can help. Shall we create an organization system for one of your spaces?
That sounds useful. How do I maintain the organization once it's set up?
Conversation 41. Creating a resume.
Listen and practice.
I need to update my resume, but I'm not sure where to start.
Updating your resume can be daunting. When was the last time you revised it?
It's been a few years. How often should I update my resume?
It's good to review it annually. What specific areas do you think need updating?
Probably my work experience and skills. Do you have any tips for making my resume stand out?
Using action verbs and quantifying achievements can help. Shall we look at some modern resume templates?
That would be great. How long should my resume be?
Generally, 1 to 2 pages is standard. Let's work on highlighting your key accomplishments concisely.
Conversation 42. Digital security.
Listen and practice.
I'm worried about my online security. How can I protect myself better?
Digital security is important. Are you using strong, unique passwords for your accounts?
I try to, but it's hard to remember them all. Do you have any tips?
A password manager can be really helpful. Have you ever used one?
No, I haven't. How do they work?
They securely store all your passwords. Shall I show you how to set one up?
That would be great. What other steps should I take for better online security?
Enabling two-factor authentication is crucial. Let's go through your important accounts and enhance their security.
Conversation 43. Productivity tools.
Listen and practice.
I'm looking for ways to be more productive at work.
There are many great productivity tools available. What areas do you want to improve?
Mostly time management and project organization. Any suggestions?
Tools like Trello or Asana can help with project management. Have you used any productivity apps before?
Just basic ones like calendars. How do these more advanced tools work?
They help visualize tasks and workflows. Shall we explore some popular productivity platforms?
That sounds useful. Are these tools difficult to learn?
Most are user-friendly, but there's a learning curve. Let's start with a simple one and see how you like it.
Conversation 44. Filling prescriptions.
Listen and practice.
I just got a new prescription from my doctor.
That's good that you're taking care of your health. Is this a medication you've taken before?
No, it's new to me. How do I make sure I take it correctly?
The pharmacist can give you detailed instructions. Have you thought about setting reminders on your phone?
That's a good idea. Do you use any apps for medication reminders?
Yes, I find them really helpful. Shall I help you set one up?
Please do. Are there any other tips for managing new medications?
It's good to keep a list of all your medications. Let's create one for you while we set up the app.
Conversation 45. Virtual meetings.
Listen and practice.
I'm having trouble with virtual meetings for work.
Virtual meetings can be challenging. What specific issues are you facing?
I often have audio problems and struggle with screen sharing. Any tips for smoother meetings?
Checking your setup beforehand can help. Have you tried doing a test call before important meetings?
No, I hadn't thought of that. How do I do a test call?
Most platforms have a test feature. Shall we go through your virtual meeting setup?
That would be great. What about staying engaged during long virtual meetings?
Taking notes and using the chat feature can help. Let's discuss some best practices for virtual meeting etiquette.
Conversation 46. Retirement planning.
Listen and practice.
It's never too early to start planning for retirement.
You're right. Have you started saving for retirement yet?
I have a 401k through work, but I'm not sure if it's enough. What else should I be doing?
Consider opening an IRA. Do you know the difference between traditional and Roth IRAs?
Not really. Can you explain?
Sure. It's about when you pay taxes on the money. Want to calculate how much you might need for retirement?
That sounds useful. Is there a good retirement calculator you recommend?
Yes. Let's use one online and input your information to get a clearer picture.
Conversation 47. Home security systems.
Listen and practice.
Are you thinking about installing a home security system?
I've been considering it. Do you have any experience with them?
Not personally, but I've heard good things. What features are you looking for?
I'm not sure. What are some important features to consider?
Motion sensors and cameras are common. Have you thought about smart home integration?
That sounds interesting. How does that work?
It allows you to control the system with your phone. Shall we look at some top-rated systems?
Yes, that would be helpful. Can we compare costs too?
Conversation 48. Cloud storage.
Listen and practice.
I'm running out of storage space on my device.
Cloud storage can help with that. Have you used any cloud services before?
I've heard of them, but I'm not sure how they work. Are they secure?
Most reputable services use strong encryption. What type of files do you need to store?
Mostly photos and documents. How much space do cloud services usually offer?
It varies, but many offer free plans with several gigabytes. Shall we compare some popular cloud storage options?
That sounds good. Can I access my files from different devices?
Yes, that's one of the benefits. Let's look at how to set up Cloud Sync on your devices.
Conversation 49. Meal kit services.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever tried a meal kit service?
No, but I've been curious. How do they work exactly?
They deliver pre-portioned ingredients and recipes. Have you heard of any specific services?
I've seen ads for HelloFresh. Have you used that one?
I have. It's pretty good. What kind of meals are you interested in?
Healthy options that are quick to prepare. Do they offer that?
Most services have various options. Want to compare a few different ones?
Sure. How much do they typically cost per meal?
Conversation 50. Wi-Fi connectivity.
Listen and practice.
My Wi-Fi keeps dropping out.
That's annoying. Have you tried resetting your router?
Yes, but it only helps temporarily. What else can I do?
We could try changing the Wi-Fi channel. Do you know how to access your router settings?
No, I'm not sure how to do that. Can you guide me?
Sure. We'll need to find your router's IP address. Shall we try that now?
Okay, let's give it a try. If that doesn't work, what's the next step?
We might need to update your router's firmware. Let's make a list of troubleshooting steps to try.
Conversation 51. Restaurant reservations.
Listen and practice.
How do you usually make restaurant reservations?
I usually just call the restaurant. Is there a better way?
Many places offer online reservations now. Have you tried any reservation apps?
No, I didn't know there were apps for that. Which ones do you recommend?
OpenTable is popular. What type of restaurants do you usually go to?
I like trying new places, especially for special occasions. Do these apps have reviews?
Yes, and sometimes special offers too. Want to download one and try it out?
Sure. Can you show me how to use it?
Conversation 52. Funeral arrangements.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever had to arrange a funeral?
Fortunately not, but I want to be prepared. Where do you start with funeral planning?
Contacting a funeral home is usually the first step. Do you know about different types of services?
Not really. Are there many options?
Yes, from traditional burials to cremation. Have you ever discussed preferences with your family?
No, it's a difficult topic to bring up. How do you approach that conversation?
It's sensitive, but important. Want to go over some ways to start that discussion?
Yes, that would be helpful. What about costs? How do people usually handle that?
Conversation 53. Time management.
Listen and practice.
I'm struggling to manage my time effectively.
That's a common challenge. What's your biggest time management issue?
I often feel overwhelmed and don't know where to start. How do you prioritize tasks?
I use the Eisenhower matrix. Have you heard of it?
No, what's that?
It helps categorize tasks by urgency and importance. Want me to show you how it works?
That sounds useful. Do you use any time management apps?
Yes, I find them really helpful. Let's explore some apps and see which might work best for you.
Conversation 54. Warranty claims.
Listen and practice.
The screen on my new phone cracked, and I think it's covered under warranty.
That's frustrating. Have you checked the terms of your warranty?
I glanced at them, but I'm not sure I understand everything. How do I start a claim?
First, you'll need to contact the manufacturer. Do you have your proof of purchase?
Yes, I kept the receipt. Is that all I'll need?
You might also need the phone's serial number. Shall we look up the exact process for your phone model?
That would be great. How long do warranty claims usually take?
It varies, but let's find out the typical time frame for your manufacturer. I can help you start the claim process if you'd like.
Conversation 55. Gym membership.
Listen and practice.
I'm thinking about joining a gym.
That's a great step towards better health. What are your fitness goals?
I want to build strength and improve my cardiovascular health. Do you have a gym membership?
Yes, I go to the local fitness center. Have you considered what type of gym would suit you best?
Not really. What should I look for in a gym?
Consider the equipment, classes offered, and location. Want to visit a few gyms together?
That would be helpful. What questions should I ask during a gym tour?
Ask about peak hours, trainers, and any additional fees. Let's make a list of gyms to visit this weekend.
Conversation 56. Sustainable living.
Listen and practice.
Have you been making any efforts towards more sustainable living?
I try to recycle, but I know there's more I could do. What do you suggest?
Reducing single-use plastics is a good start. Have you tried using reusable bags and water bottles?
I have a few, but I often forget them. How do you remember to bring them?
I keep them by the door or in my car. What about composting? Have you tried that?
No. Isn't it complicated?
It's simpler than you might think. Want me to explain the basics?
Sure, I'm interested. What other sustainable practices do you follow?
Conversation 57. Salary negotiation.
Listen and practice.
I have a job offer, but I'm nervous about negotiating the salary.
Congratulations on the offer. Have you researched the typical salary range for this position?
I've looked at some salary websites. How do I know what to ask for?
Consider your experience and the company's location. Have you thought about other benefits besides salary?
Not really. What other benefits should I consider?
Things like health insurance, vacation time, and professional development opportunities. Shall we make a list of your priorities?
That's a good idea. How do I bring up salary during the negotiation?
It's best to let them make the first offer. Let's practice some negotiation scenarios to help you feel more confident.
Conversation 58. Jury duty.
Listen and practice.
I just received a jury duty summons and I'm not sure what to expect.
It's an important civic duty. Have you ever served on a jury before?
No, this is my first time. What was your experience like?
It was interesting but can be time-consuming. Do you know the dates you need to be available?
The summons mentions a 2-week period. Is that typical?
Yes, that's common. Have you informed your employer yet?
Not yet. Are they required to give me time off?
Yes, by law they must. Let's review your rights and responsibilities as a juror together.
Conversation 59. Writing a will.
Listen and practice.
I need to write a will, but I'm not sure where to start.
Writing a will is important. Have you thought about what you want to include in your will?
Mostly just who gets what. Are there other things I should consider?
Yes, like naming an executor. Do you know what an executor does?
Not exactly. Can you explain?
An executor manages your estate after you're gone. Shall we make a list of key elements to include in your will?
That would be helpful. Do I need a lawyer to write a will?
Not necessarily, but it can be beneficial. Let's look at some options for creating a legally valid will.
Conversation 60. Learning platforms.
Listen and practice.
I want to learn some new skills online.
Online learning is great for self-improvement. What subjects are you interested in?
I'd like to improve my coding skills. Do you know any good platforms for that?
There are several, like Code Academy or Coursera. Have you used any online learning platforms before?
Not really. How do they usually work?
They offer structured courses, often with videos and interactive exercises. Shall we look at some top-rated coding courses?
That would be great. Are these courses expensive?
There's a range, from free to paid. Let's compare some options and see what fits your budget and goals.
Conversation 61. Online banking.
Listen and practice.
I'm hesitant to use online banking. Is it really safe?
Online banking can be very secure if you take proper precautions. What concerns do you have about it?
I worry about hackers accessing my account. How do banks protect against that?
Banks use advanced encryption and multi-factor authentication. Have you set up two-factor authentication for your accounts?
No, I haven't. How does that work?
It adds an extra layer of security beyond your password. Shall I show you how to set it up?
That would be helpful. Are there any other safety measures I should take?
Regularly monitoring your accounts is important. Let's go over some best practices for safe online banking.
Conversation 62. Cryptocurrency basics.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever invested in cryptocurrency?
Not yet, but I'm curious about it. What exactly is cryptocurrency?
It's a type of digital currency that uses cryptography for security. Do you know how it works?
Not really. Is it similar to regular money?
It's decentralized and operates on blockchain technology. Have you heard of Bitcoin?
Yes, that's the most famous one, right? Are there others?
There are many, like Ethereum and Litecoin. Want to learn more about how to buy some?
That would be interesting. Could you show me a reliable platform for beginners?
Conversation 63. Healthcare systems.
Listen and practice.
I'm new to the area and need to find a primary care doctor.
Finding a good doctor is important. Does your insurance have a provider directory?
They do, but it's a long list. How do you choose a doctor?
I look at their credentials and patient reviews. Have you considered what's most important to you in a doctor?
I hadn't thought about it. What factors should I consider?
Location, office hours, and their approach to care are good starting points. Want to make a list of your priorities?
That's a good idea. How do I check if a doctor is accepting new patients?
We can call their offices to ask. Let's narrow down your list and start making some inquiries.
Conversation 64. Package tracking.
Listen and practice.
I'm expecting an important package, but the tracking information hasn't updated in days.
That can be worrying. Which carrier is handling the delivery?
It's being shipped through FedEx. Is it normal for updates to be infrequent?
It can happen, especially for international shipments. Have you tried contacting their customer service?
Not yet. Do you think they'll be able to help?
Often they can provide more detailed information. Shall we try giving them a call now?
That's a good idea. What information will I need to provide?
You'll need the tracking number and possibly the sender's details. Let's gather all the information before we call.
Conversation 65. Passport renewal.
Listen and practice.
My passport is expiring soon, and I need to renew it.
It's good you're thinking about it early. Do you know where to start?
Not really. I've heard it can be a lengthy process. How long does it usually take?
It can take several weeks. Have you checked if you're eligible for online renewal?
I didn't know that was an option. How can I find out?
There's a government website that explains the criteria. Shall we look it up together?
That would be great. What document will I need for renewal?
You'll need your current passport, a new photo, and possibly some ID. Let's make a list of everything you'll need.
Conversation 66. Insurance policies.
Listen and practice.
I'm reviewing my insurance policies and feeling overwhelmed by all the options.
Insurance can be complex. What types of insurance are you looking at?
Home and auto right now. How do you decide on coverage levels?
I consider my assets and risk tolerance. Have you gotten any quotes yet?
Not yet. I'm not sure where to start. Any recommendations?
Comparison websites can be helpful. Want to look at a few together?
That would be great. How often should I review my policies?
It's good to review annually or after major life changes. Let's start by listing your current coverage and needs.
Conversation 67. Grocery shopping.
Listen and practice.
I'm trying to stick to a grocery budget, but I always overspend.
It can be challenging. Do you make a shopping list before you go?
Sometimes, but I often forget it at home. How do you stay organized?
I use a grocery list app on my phone. Have you tried meal planning?
Not really. Does that help with budgeting?
Absolutely. It reduces impulse buys and food waste. Want me to show you how I plan my meals?
That would be really helpful. Do you have any other money-saving tips?
Buying in bulk and using store loyalty programs can help. Let's create a meal plan for next week together.
Conversation 68. Online shopping.
Listen and practice.
I'm hesitant to shop online because I'm worried about security.
That's a valid concern. Do you know what to look for in a secure website?
Not really. How can I tell if a site is safe?
Look for HTTPS in the URL and a padlock icon. Have you considered using PayPal for added protection?
I've heard of it but never used it. How does it work?
It acts as a secure intermediary for your payment. Want me to show you how to set up an account?
That would be helpful. Are there other precautions I should take?
Using strong, unique passwords for each site is important. Let's go through some online shopping safety tips together.
Conversation 69. House sitting.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever done house sitting?
No, but I'm interested in trying it. What does house sitting usually involve?
Typically caring for the house and sometimes pets. Have you ever had a house sitter?
No, I haven't. How do you find reliable house sitters?
There are websites that connect sitters with homeowners. Want to look at some?
Sure. What should I consider before house sitting?
Communication with the homeowner is key. Shall we make a list of questions to ask?
That's a good idea. What about payment? How does that usually work?
Conversation 70. Setting personal goals.
Listen and practice.
I want to set some personal goals, but I'm not sure where to start.
Setting goals is a great way to make progress. What areas of your life do you want to improve?
I'd like to focus on health and career development. How do you approach goal setting?
I use the SMART criteria. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure how to apply it. Can you explain?
Sure. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Shall we try setting a goal using this method?
That would be helpful. How often should I review my goals?
I review mine monthly. Let's set up a system for you to track and review your goals regularly.
Conversation 71. Dealing with allergies.
Listen and practice.
My seasonal allergies are acting up.
That must be uncomfortable. Have you identified your specific triggers?
Not really. How can I figure out what I'm allergic to?
An allergist can perform tests. Have you considered seeing one?
I hadn't thought about it. Do you have experience with allergy testing?
Yes, it was very helpful for managing my allergies. Shall we look up allergy specialists in our area?
That's a good idea. In the meantime, do you have any tips for alleviating symptoms?
Air purifiers and nasal rinses can help. Let's make a list of strategies you can try right away.
Conversation 72. Printer setup.
Listen and practice.
I just bought a new printer and I'm having trouble setting it up.
New tech can be tricky. Is it a wireless printer?
Yes, but I can't get it to connect to my Wi-Fi. What could be the problem?
There could be a few issues. Have you tried restarting both the printer and your router?
Not yet. Should I do that first?
Yes, that often solves connection problems. Shall we go through the setup process step by step?
That would be helpful. Do I need to install any software on my computer?
It depends on the printer model. Let's check the manufacturer's website for the correct drivers and software.
Conversation 73. Renting an apartment.
Listen and practice.
I'm planning to rent my first apartment.
That's exciting. Have you started looking at listings yet?
A few, but I'm not sure what to look for. What are some key things to consider?
Location, price, and amenities are important. Have you set a budget?
I have a rough idea. How do I figure out what I can afford?
A general rule is rent shouldn't exceed 30% of your income. Shall we calculate your ideal rent range?
That would be helpful. What questions should I ask when viewing apartments?
Let's make a list of important questions about utilities, parking, and policies. Want to role-play a landlord meeting?
Conversation 74. Visa application.
Listen and practice.
I need to apply for a visa for my study abroad program.
That's an exciting opportunity. Do you know what type of visa you need?
I think it's a student visa, but I'm not sure about the process. Have you ever applied for a visa?
Yes, for my work exchange last year. It can be a bit complex. What documents have you gathered so far?
Just my passport so far. What else will I need?
You'll likely need proof of acceptance, financial statements, and more. Want to make a checklist together?
That would be really helpful. How long does the process usually take?
It varies by country, but it's best to start early. Let's look up the specific requirements for your destination.
Conversation 75. Water conservation.
Listen and practice.
Do you know how much water you use daily?
Not really. Should I be keeping track?
It can be eye-opening. Have you considered installing low-flow fixtures?
What are those exactly? Do they make a big difference?
They can reduce water usage significantly. Want to check your current fixtures?
Okay. How can we tell if they're low flow or not?
There's usually information on the fixture. Shall we do a water audit of your home?
That sounds useful. What else can we do to save water?
Conversation 76. Farmers market shopping.
Listen and practice.
Do you ever shop at farmers markets?
I've been meaning to, but haven't gotten around to it. What are the benefits?
Fresher produce and supporting local farmers are big ones. Do you know where your nearest market is?
I think there's one downtown. What's the best time to go?
Early morning usually has the best selection. Have you heard of CSA boxes?
No, what are those?
They're like subscription boxes from local farms. Interested in learning more?
Yes, that sounds interesting. How do you choose the best produce at markets?
Conversation 77. Remote work setup.
Listen and practice.
I'm transitioning to remote work and need to set up a home office.
That's an exciting change. Do you have a dedicated space for your office?
I have a spare room, but I'm not sure how to organize it. What are the essentials for a home office?
A comfortable chair and good lighting are crucial. Have you thought about your technology needs?
I'm not sure what I'll need. What do you recommend?
A reliable computer and strong internet connection are must-haves. Shall we make a list of equipment you'll need?
That's a good idea. How do you stay productive when working from home?
Creating a routine and setting boundaries is important. Let's discuss some strategies for effective remote work.
Conversation 78. Internet service providers.
Listen and practice.
I need to choose an internet service provider for my new place.
That's important for staying connected. Do you know what types of internet are available in your area?
I'm not sure. How can I find out?
We can check online or call local providers. What do you primarily use the internet for?
Mostly streaming and some work from home. What speed do you think I need?
For streaming and work, you'll want at least 100 megabits per second. Shall we compare plans from different providers?
That sounds good. How do I know if a provider is reliable?
We can check customer reviews and ask neighbors. Let's make a list of questions to ask potential providers.
Conversation 79. TV streaming services.
Listen and practice.
There are so many TV streaming services now.
It can be overwhelming. What types of shows or movies do you enjoy watching?
I like a mix of everything. How do I choose which service is best for me?
Consider the content libraries and your budget. Have you tried any free trials?
Not yet. Are they safe to use?
Yes. Just remember to cancel if you don't want to continue. Shall we compare the top streaming services?
That sounds helpful. Can I use multiple services on the same device?
Usually, yes. Let's look at device compatibility for the services you're most interested in.
Conversation 80. Stock market introduction.
Listen and practice.
I'm thinking about investing in stocks.
That's a good way to grow your wealth. Do you know the basics of how the stock market works?
Not really. Can you explain it simply?
Sure, it's like owning a small part of a company. Have you considered what types of stocks interest you?
I'm not sure. Are there different types?
Yes, like growth stocks or dividend stocks. Shall we look at some examples?
That would be helpful. How do I start investing with a small amount?
We can explore some beginner-friendly investing apps. Want to compare a few together?
Conversation 81. Emergency services.
Listen and practice.
I realized I don't know what to do in case of a major emergency.
It's good to be prepared. Do you know the emergency numbers for your area?
Just 911. Are there others I should know?
There might be non-emergency numbers too. Have you considered creating an emergency plan?
I haven't. What should it include?
Contact numbers, meeting places, and basic supplies. Want to work on a plan together?
That would be really helpful. Should I have an emergency kit at home?
Absolutely. Let's make a list of essential items to include in your kit.
Conversation 82. Online courses.
Listen and practice.
I'm thinking about taking an online course.
Online courses can be a great way to learn. Do you have a specific subject in mind?
I'm interested in digital marketing. How do I choose a good course?
Look for courses with good reviews and clear learning outcomes. Have you checked any MOOC platforms?
What's a MOOC? Can you explain?
It stands for Massive Open Online Course. Shall we explore some popular MOOC platforms?
That sounds helpful. How much time do online courses usually require?
It varies, but most provide estimated time commitments. Let's find a course that fits your schedule and interests.
Conversation 83. Video conferencing.
Listen and practice.
Have you been using video conferencing a lot lately?
Yes, for work and staying in touch with family. What platform do you prefer?
I usually use Zoom. Do you have any tips for better video calls?
Good lighting and a stable internet connection are key. Have you tried virtual backgrounds?
Not yet. How do they work?
They replace your real background with an image. Want me to show you how to set one up?
Sure, that sounds fun. Are there any etiquette rules for video calls?
Yes, like muting when not speaking. Shall we go over some best practices?
Conversation 84. Urban gardening.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever thought about starting an urban garden?
I'd love to, but I don't have much space. What options are there for small areas?
Container gardening is great for small spaces. Have you considered growing herbs?
That sounds manageable. What herbs are easiest to grow?
Basil and mint are pretty hardy. Do you get much sunlight in your space?
I have a small balcony that gets afternoon sun. Is that enough?
It could work for many plants. Want to plan out a small herb garden?
Yes, that sounds fun. What supplies would I need to get started?
Conversation 85. Password management.
Listen and practice.
I have trouble keeping track of all my passwords.
That's a common problem. How do you currently manage your passwords?
I usually use the same password with slight variations. Is that bad?
It can be risky. Have you considered using a password manager?
I've heard of them, but I'm not sure how they work. Are they secure?
Yes, they use strong encryption. Would you like me to recommend a few reliable options?
That would be helpful. How difficult is it to start using one?
It's quite user-friendly. Let's download one, and I can guide you through setting it up.
Conversation 86. Composting basics.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever tried composting?
No, but I'm curious about it. Isn't it messy and smelly?
It doesn't have to be if done correctly. Do you know what items can be composted?
I'm not sure. Is it just food scraps?
Food scraps are great, but there's more. Want to make a list of compostable items?
Yes, that would be helpful. Do I need special equipment to start?
A bin is useful, but you can start small. Shall we look at some beginner composting methods?
Okay. How long does it take to produce usable compost?
Conversation 87. Mobile payments.
Listen and practice.
I've noticed more people using mobile payments. Are they secure?
Mobile payments can be very secure. Have you tried using any mobile payment apps?
Not yet. I'm not sure how they work. Which ones do you use?
I use Apple Pay and Venmo. Are you more interested in paying businesses or friends?
Both, I guess. How do I know if a store accepts mobile payments?
Look for signs or symbols at checkout. Shall we set up a mobile payment app on your phone?
Okay, but how do I add my credit card to it?
The app will guide you through the process. Let's choose an app, and I'll help you set it up securely.
Conversation 88. Personal training.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever worked with a personal trainer?
Yes, I have. Are you considering getting one?
I'm thinking about it. What was your experience like?
It was very helpful for learning proper form and staying motivated. What are your fitness goals?
I want to lose weight and tone up. How do I choose a good trainer?
Look for certifications and experience with your goals. Shall we research some local trainers?
That's a good idea. How many sessions do you think I'd need?
It varies, but starting with once a week is common. Let's look at some trainer profiles and their packages.
Conversation 89. Home decluttering.
Listen and practice.
Have you ever done a major decluttering of your home?
I've tried, but I get overwhelmed. Where's the best place to start?
Starting with one small area can help. Have you heard of the KonMari method?
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it involves. Can you explain?
It's about keeping things that spark joy. Want to try it with one category of items?
Sure, that sounds manageable. What category should we start with?
Clothes are often a good starting point. Shall we plan a closet decluttering session?
Okay. What should I do with the things I decide to get rid of?
Conversation 90. Dental appointments.
Listen and practice.
I've been putting off going to the dentist.
That's not good for your health. When was your last checkup?
It's been over a year now. How often do you go?
I go every 6 months. Do you have dental insurance?
Yes, but I'm not sure what it covers. How can I find out?
You can call your insurance provider or check their website. Want me to help you look it up?
That would be great. Do you have any tips for finding a good dentist?
I'd recommend reading reviews and asking for recommendations from friends. Shall we search for dentists in your area?
Conversation 91. Professional development.
Listen and practice.
I want to focus on my professional development this year.
That's a great goal. What areas do you want to improve in?
I'd like to enhance my leadership skills. Do you have any suggestions?
There are many great leadership books and courses available. Have you considered joining any professional organizations?
No, I hadn't thought of that. How do I find relevant organizations?
We can search online for industry-specific groups. Shall we look some up now?
That would be helpful. How do you balance work and professional development?
I try to set aside time each week for learning. Let's create a professional development plan for you.
Conversation 92. Data backup.
Listen and practice.
I'm worried about losing my important files.
Backing up data is crucial. Do you currently have any backup system in place?
Not really. What options are available?
There's local backup on external drives and cloud backup services. Have you considered either of these?
I'm not sure how they work. Can you explain the difference?
Sure. Local is physical storage you control, while cloud stores data online. Shall we explore some backup solutions?
That would be helpful. How often should I back up my data?
It depends on how often you create new files. Let's set up an automated backup schedule for you.
Conversation 93. Reading food labels.
Listen and practice.
I find food labels confusing. How do you make sense of them?
It can be overwhelming at first. What specific information are you looking for on labels?
I want to reduce my sugar intake, but I'm not sure how to interpret the sugar content. Any advice?
Look for added sugars on the label. Have you heard of the May 20th rule?
No, what's that?
It's a quick way to judge nutrient levels. Want me to explain it?
Yes, please. Are there any apps that can help with reading labels?
There are several good ones. Let's download one and practice reading some labels together.
Conversation 94. Social media privacy.
Listen and practice.
I'm concerned about my privacy on social media.
It's good to be mindful of that. Have you reviewed your privacy settings recently?
Not really. I'm not sure where to find them. Can you help me with that?
Of course. Which social media platforms do you use most?
Mainly Facebook and Instagram. What should I be looking out for?
Things like who can see your posts and personal information. Shall we go through your settings together?
That would be great. Is there anything I should avoid posting on social media?
It's best to be cautious with personal information. Let's discuss some general guidelines for social media safety.
Conversation 95. Software updates.
Listen and practice.
I keep getting notifications about software updates.
Updates are important for security and performance. Do you usually install them right away?
Not always. Should I be updating everything?
It's generally a good idea. What concerns do you have about updates?
Sometimes they change features I like. Is there a way to see what an update does before installing?
Yes, most updates come with release notes. Shall we check for any pending updates on your device?
That's a good idea. How long do updates usually take?
It varies, but we can schedule them for a convenient time. Let's review your update settings and create a plan.
Conversation 96. Postal services.
Listen and practice.
I need to send a package internationally, but I'm not sure about the process.
International shipping can be tricky. Do you know what's in the package?
Just some books and souvenirs. Are there restrictions on what can be sent?
Yes. Each country has its own rules. Have you checked the destination country's regulations?
I haven't. Where can I find that information?
The post office website has a tool for that. Shall we look it up together?
That would be great. What about customs forms?
You'll need to fill those out. Let's go through the process step by step to make sure we cover everything.
Conversation 97. Calendar organization.
Listen and practice.
I'm having trouble keeping track of all my appointments.
A well-organized calendar can really help with that. Are you using any digital calendar apps?
I use the basic one on my phone, but I'm not sure I'm using it effectively. Any tips?
Syncing across devices and setting reminders are key. Have you tried color-coding your events?
No, I didn't know you could do that. How does it help?
It makes it easy to visually categorize events. Want me to show you how to set it up?
Yes, please. Can I share my calendar with others?
Absolutely. It's great for coordinating. Let's explore some advanced features of your calendar app.
Conversation 98. Email management.
Listen and practice.
My email inbox is always overflowing.
A cluttered inbox can be stressful. How do you currently organize your emails?
I don't really have a system. Any tips for managing emails more effectively?
Folders and filters can be very helpful. Have you tried using any email organization techniques?
Not really. How do I set up folders and filters?
It's pretty simple. Shall I show you how to create some basic filters?
That would be great. How do I decide what to keep and what to delete?
We can create an email sorting system. Let's start by identifying your most important email categories.
Conversation 99. Nutrition consultation.
Listen and practice.
I'm considering seeing a nutritionist.
That's a great way to improve your diet. What prompted this decision?
I want to eat healthier, but I'm not sure where to start. Have you ever seen a nutritionist?
Yes, it was very informative. Do you have any specific dietary concerns?
I'm worried about getting enough protein as a vegetarian. How can a nutritionist help with that?
They can create a personalized meal plan for you. Shall we look for registered dietitians in our area?
That sounds good. What questions should I prepare for the first appointment?
Write down your typical meals and any health concerns. Want to brainstorm some questions together?
Conversation 100. Home office organization.
Listen and practice.
My home office is a mess and it's affecting my productivity.
A cluttered space can definitely impact work. What's the biggest organizational challenge you're facing?
I have papers everywhere and can never find what I need. How do you keep your office organized?
I use a combination of digital and physical filing systems. Have you considered going paperless?
I hadn't thought about that. How would I start?
We could look into scanning documents and cloud storage options. Want to explore some digital organization tools?
That sounds helpful. What about organizing physical items?
Using labeled containers and a designated place for everything helps. Let's create an organization plan for your office.